I need to drop my kid to school. I need the charging point at my residence or in my neighborhood at best, not anywhere beyond that. I mean, therefore, how do I put this system in my plot of land or in my stilt area? What are the standards? There are no standards available. There are no building bylaws provided. So I think first of all we need to have that in place, and then we must ensure that I know that in some cooperative housing societies, the RWAs has come forward and then they've put up a couple of charging stations. But Delhi is a city by and large having plotted development. So we all live on plots of land where there are a couple of floors and there are so many cars, and therefore, how do you do this charging? It's a very, very big problem. Number one. Number two, now if this large number of cars are all to charge their batteries, then what is the amount of energy consumption that's going to happen? So as it is, we have a lot of power tripping and all that stuff. So the power demand, particularly in the summer months, is very, very high because we want air conditioners and so on and so forth. So along with that, now you have such a large number of EV stations, and then they're all pulling the power. Then the third thing is, of course, the fire hazards and other things. Because what do I do if I buy an electric car today? I can only depend upon probably my local electrician or somebody, and he will do some makeshift rent. So what are the standards? How do I ensure that I have a safe system in my plot of land or in my neighborhood where I can have this thing
Okay.
fitted? There are very few which are company fitted. So if it is a company fitted thing where some standards are being adopted, fine, I can trust them.
I want this discussion to go down to actually the two wheelers. The reason why, because two wheelers are the main source of pollution in the NCR. The 2T engines, two-stroke engines. Now, Vikram, my issue here is two-stroke engines are purchased by people of a certain income medium, correct? So they will now be taking it to some third point to get their two-wheelers charged. It means that they will be charging their two-wheelers next to their house or in their house or around their house.
Yeah.
Do we have that infrastructure in those residential colonies? Are we ending up creating more trouble in terms of, because there's also a load issue in summers?
No, absolutely. And I think that Professor Rao actually had some very valid points. But Karthikeya, just to give a little bit of clarity, two-stroke engines have been gone for a while now. We're all on four-stroke engines now. And yes, they are still contributing to a large amount of pollution. Vehicular pollution is definitely a very big concern in Delhi. And even in the winters, we see that ppm score going above 900. But when we come down to two-wheelers and electric two-wheelers, they are just last-mile mobility solutions at this stage. We don't have too many players who are looking at totally getting rid of what a 100cc motorcycle does for a people. Because, the 100cc, the 125cc, that is the commuter class motorcycle that the EV two-wheeler now needs to replace. And when you think about it, the 100cc category is something that is used by the milkmen, your postal guys, the guys running around. It's mainly the labor class that is using these machines. And for them to adapt to an EV, it becomes as hard as, like you said, will they get the charging spots?
Vikram, are too many things taking place simultaneously? EV, charging, ethanol,
Yes, I think the problem is that we have had a very reactive way of dealing with vehicular norms, sustainability, rolling out electric vehicles. Even you touched upon hybrids. India skipped hybrids. Why did we skip that stage? Hybrids are brilliant machines. I think whoever has owned a hybrid or has a hybrid in the country will agree that that is the perfect stepping stone in the right direction to lower our use and our dependency on petrol and diesel. But we went the European market reacted and said we're going to electric by 2030, and India said yes, so are we. Now the thing is that we were not ready. Volvo, who was one of the biggest companies to say this, actually had to roll back on their statement. A lot of large companies that are out there are rolling back on their statement, saying that yes, we did say that we want to roll out EVs or go all electric by this stage, but we're having to push back on that date because at a global scale, they've realized that it is not just an easy shift. The infrastructure requirement is a lot. Power generation requirement is through the roof. And now we're also starting to look at safety norms because, as Mr. Rao also rightly pointed out, we don't have a lot of building safety norms when it comes to installation of EV chargers, right? We have seen some builders, I think Mahindra, they have a wing that does a lot of construction and they do townships. And I remember them reading about them where they said EV-ready infrastructure housing. Now that's one company.
There's also other thing. Professor Rao, one is about the infrastructure. I know it's a side question, but that's the environment tick I have. Batteries can also be a source of big pollution. Disposal,
Oh, yeah.
Designated areas, Professor. Dismantling, it's an art in itself. It's like when CT scan machines of hospitals. I'm just giving an example. There's a place it gets disposed of. No one opens it like that. Even batteries require specialized arrangements. It's like a different level of an e-waste, Professor Rao.
Correct. So you need to take the life cycle approach to the entire system and not have a knee-jerk reaction that, okay, let's get into EV straight away and not go to the hybrid. Hybrid is doing quite well and we are not encouraging that and we are jumping the gun, going too much, too fast. So I think that is the problem. And certainly, there are two things. One is new projects, as has just now been said. There are new projects where they do realize and they take cognizance of the EV industry. But then, how many of us are living in new projects? The majority of us are already living somewhere. So we need to do what is called a retrofitting. So how do I retrofit a system into my existing electrical system of my house, and what does it take? So you need professional guys to do the installations. You can't get it installed by any company. And there is a load, and there have to be standards. You need to have standards. And what are the standards? Where is the document? Who's going to tell me? So I think what people are going to end up doing is to depend upon the neighborhood electrician, and then this would. I'm afraid that this would lead to safety hazards. We've heard in the media many bursting of these two-wheelers and batteries. So there'll be a fire accident more often than not. So I think we need to take a pause and do a comprehensive review.
Okay, we are trying to reduce, this EV revolution is to reduce the pollution. But I have a, Vikram, different question. Can any cleaning of the city can happen in absence of a rapid public transport system which is eco-friendly? Unless and until you have a mass transport system, how do you clean the city? I mean, so you want to clean the city, you want to have a clean air, okay, let's go for EVs. I mean, so that's one part of it. But everyone can't have a EV. Your transport system becomes the backbone for clean air. I mean to say it's a good thing, but I was just thinking, but the basic issue is your mass rapid transport system, which is absent.
Absolutely. So, I mean, Delhi, if we just take Delhi as a case study, yes, Delhi stepped up their game with the metro. I think that the metro was definitely something in the right direction for that, but the expansion needed to continue at that pace. Right now, at least on my last few trips to Delhi, sometimes it's impossible getting on the metro. It's just so packed.
Yes, they're very packed.
It's maximized to, rush hour traffic is crazy. And, that said, there are a lot of places that are still not connected. you want to go from Gurgaon to Faridabad. There's no metro for that. There's no metro from Dwarka to Gurgaon. You know, all these satellite cities where a lot of people live now and a lot of work is happening in these locations, there's just no connectivity with the metro, with public transport. Buses, yes, we shifted to CNG buses, then we moved to electric buses. But by and large, that is a different segment of society that is using the buses. It's not like other countries where anybody hops on and hops off a bus.
Yes.
You know, maybe if our buses look nicer, were neater and treated better, it would be used by anybody and everybody. But I frankly, not to sound snobbish, you know, I stopped using the bus straight after college. So the day I could get my own wheels, that's what I chose.
No, I was in Delhi. I used to, you know, I have been through the ordeal of use specials, like any other Delhi boy.
So you know that, and it was great. But I think when we're talking about public transport, we wanted the taxis to move to EVs. It had to be done in a phase-wise manner. I remember initial chatter when EVs were just sort of starting out in the country. I had a discussion with a number of manufacturers. I said, why are you guys trying to roll out to the passenger vehicle segment? You know, shouldn't we be solving a problem that would be stage-wise done? Do the public transport first.
Okay.
Do the farming sector.
Okay.
Right? And then move to passenger adoption. Because getting me to buy an EV or you to buy an EV, yes, sure, we would. But is it really going to make that massive impact? The numbers speak for themselves.
Vikram, I've really run short of time. Professor, I've really run short of time. Thank you for making time for this conversation. Other time we'll have a longer conversation on this, because it's just not any political debate. It's about us. It's about our health. It's about making Delhi great again, if I have to put it in a very rhetorical way. So this is all I had on 3. Thank you and good night.
Meet the tomorrow today. ICFI is the bridge between tomorrow and today. Bridge between aspirations and accomplishment. Bridge between I wish to I can. I will remove the gap. Welcome to the I. I am ICFI. Belief called I. I can fly above imagination.